Welcome to Tuesday Newsday, your number one resource for the entire week's worth of VR news. VR for Xbox consoles leaked? Think again. New full-body trackers and a facial tracker from HTC, the first Ready Player One-like school, and affordable haptic gloves that you can build yourself. This is an awesome week of VR news that you won't want to miss. That and so much more, let's just get right into the news. Starting off this week, Beat Saber is about to receive another huge update with OST, or Original Soundtrack 4, set to be released on the 18th of March. As of now, we don't know many details regarding which songs will be on the sound pack, but we should be expecting more music from Beck, the previous CEO of Beat Games and composer of a lot of Beat Saber's other original music. One more interesting thing is if you look at the 4 in the teaser trailer, there are some odd effects on the beat map that may mean more than just new music is coming to Beat Saber, but we'll just have to wait for that until tomorrow. So, Xbox and VR has always been a very weird topic. Phil Spencer, essentially the boss of Xbox, said back in 2019, quote, "Nobody's asking for VR," end quote, regarding Xbox and virtual reality in the future. That statement got a ton of backlash, of course, and it seemed like the Xbox team was slightly more optimistic about VR, but still had no plans of supporting it. The Xbox team themselves have said that the Xbox Series X is capable of high fidelity of VR, it just won't support it currently. So when this message popped up for an Italian Xbox user, it definitely built up some hype, but that hype was misplaced, as it usually is regarding Xbox and VR. Both the Xbox Series S or X are not getting VR support right now. Microsoft had this to say regarding this incident, quote, "The copy in this error message is inaccurate due to a localization bug. VR for console is not a focus for us at this time," end quote. So there you have it. I'm actually surprised, as I have been for a couple of years now, that the Xbox team doesn't jump on VR. It kind of makes no sense. Microsoft already has Windows Mixed Reality at their fingertips, and looking at the Reverb G2, it's still something they actively support. And considering Facebook's success with the Quest 2, Sony's success with PSVR, and their recent announcement of a PSVR 2, you'd think that the Xbox team would wisen up and utilize a VR headset line that's already been produced and proven, that being Windows Mixed Reality, and adapt it for their consoles. But instead, they don't. So that's that from Xbox for now. No VR for the foreseeable future. Of course, I think this is a massive oversight from Xbox, and that VR will make a difference in this console race eventually, but who knows? Maybe we'll eventually get VR support for an Xbox. People may wonder why I would even want VR for a console, but really all it does is provide more people with more ways to do VR. PSVR got 5 million people in a headset. Imagine if all mainstream consoles supported some form of good VR. The software would improve, competition would drive innovation, and more headsets would be on more shelves and more heads. But right now, for virtual reality, that just isn't a reality. Maybe in the future. But since we can't rely on the big dogs to make innovation, let's talk about some real VR innovation. There's a guy out there developing gloves for VR that anyone can build for incredibly cheap. And it has not gotten nearly enough attention, at least not enough attention outside of TikTok. And yeah, that's right, this is Lucas VR Tech, a TikToker that has developed his own haptic glove all on a budget and in his free time. Lucas, or Lucid VR, has for months been prototyping a homebrew set of gloves that can be recreated in anyone's home assuming you have time and a 3D printer or access to one, as well as some other components. And some of you may be thinking, oh, that's cool, but let me give you some context. I love the idea of replacing a controller with gloves for VR applications. It just makes sense. I'm honestly kind of tired of controllers, and gloves present all sorts of possibilities to increase immersion in game. Haptic feedback, force feedback, and not to mention not having to hold a controller at all. But there are also issues. Other than having to figure out what to do about locomotion or buttons, the biggest issue really right now is price. For a force feedback glove, which in case you don't know, force feedback is a system that basically exerts force against your fingers within the glove to make it feel like you're holding something. You can expect to drop anywhere from $500 to $5,000 for a set of these gloves. And there's no guarantee it'll work in any of the games that you want it to. And there's also no guarantee you can even buy it, considering most of these gloves are only sold to businesses, not consumers. And that's where this project is really cool. Where other companies have designed extremely intricate and expensive systems for force feedback and glove control, Lucas has built a system that anyone can replicate for incredibly cheap that accomplishes accomplishes a similar task. I am definitely wanting to build my own or get my hands on one soon for a dedicated video on this channel, as I think this project is amazing and I'd love to share with everyone how good or bad this solution actually is. Although I should warn you that it's said multiple places that this is very much so an experimental build. The bigger thing here though is the amazing work being done by passionate VR pioneers. We don't really have good VR gloves right now that people can buy or build, so the incredibly talented people within the VR community take it upon themselves to solve the issues that the industry won't. And this is part of the reason why I love the VR community so much, whether it be the Swedish teens creating Stonks, a cheap full body tracking method for the masses, or Lucid VR creating affordable force feedback gloves for the home. It doesn't matter. Within the VR community, we have some of the most intelligent and driven pioneers out there, and it couldn't be more exciting. If you do want more info on these gloves or how to build them yourself, I will be posting more videos on my channel for sure about them, but you can also check out Lucid VR's TikTok and other resources. Links will be in the description. Definitely excited to see where this goes. But now it's time for a meme break! Speaking of $5,000 gloves, VR can be a very expensive hobby. I know there was a period of time that I'd work any overtime I could just so I could afford my Index and a Quest that I can review on the channel. So this definitely hit true. Interviewer, why do you want to join our company? Me, I've got an expensive hobby, so I want to make more money. And sounds about right. And now back to the news. Let's talk real quick about HTC, their new headset, trackers, and facial trackers. So last week, HTC teased a bunch of pictures. Some thought it was of HTC's next VR headset, which was also confirmed last week, but in actuality, the pictures were of HTC's new Vive tracker, the Tracker 3.0, 33% smaller than previous Vive trackers, 15% lighter, 75% longer lasting battery, but it costs 30% more and has a slightly lower field of view for tracking. I will be checking them out in a review on the channel, but they're not available in North America yet, so I don't have them yet. HTC also released a face tracker to track facial movement for certain games like Neos, for example, and it seems to be working pretty great, but interestingly enough, HTC said it only supports the Vive Pro. But according to just about everyone, it works on all headsets, so I will be reviewing this one as well once it's available in North America, that is. We still don't know anything about HTC's next headset, which, like I said, was already announced, but in my opinion, these two product launches feel very, very weird. A more expensive Vive tracker, I think we were all hoping for cheaper, not more expensive, and an awesome face tracker that you say only works with your own headset, yet everyone has shown it works on almost all headsets. HTC, I can't tell if you just want to sell more Vive Pros or if you just like to shoot yourself in the foot with every product launch you have. A widely available, openly compatible face tracker is a gigantic deal for the VR industry, yet some weird wording muddles the meaning of a launch in a way that only HTC can do, it seems. Either way, I can't wait to get these in hand and show everyone just what they're like and how much potential they have. I just wish HTC handled things a little differently. Now let's talk about school in virtual reality. Believe me, it's more exciting than it sounds. I'm a big believer in the future of education and VR meshing in ways that we sort of can't imagine yet. I honestly hate to be the guy that brings up Ready Player One all the time, but it's a decent example to give. Imagine school or college in VR. You put on a headset and you're in your school's world where you attend classes, go to lab, dissect virtual frogs, play Echo Arena for recess, and socialize with friends within your virtual school like you would within VR chat. It may seem a little far off and a little ridiculous, but it's totally plausible, and I seriously see VR changing the way education works within the next decade. But that won't happen unless steps are taken now, and that's exactly what's happening. Morehouse College in Atlanta, Georgia, the alma mater of Martin Luther King Jr. himself, have announced that they are opening college courses that you can take completely within a VR headset. The courses are currently only a men's health course and world history, but it's still amazing to me that you can take fully accredited college courses all within a VR headset. I was actually lucky enough to receive a virtual tour of Morehouse College and the two courses, speaking directly with the professors offering the classes, and not gonna lie, it's extremely exciting to see people in the education industry so passionate about how incredible the future of education in VR can be. One example are these virtual field trips that students go on. You're in a class 1 second, then you're in a human body looking at a heart in real time with your professor. VR can sort of turn any learning environment into a magic school bus scenario where every professor is a Miss Frizzle. And I don't know about you, but physically interacting with molecules within VR or being there for historical events for a history course, once again, all within a VR headset, sounds a whole lot cooler than popcorn reading from a textbook. These courses at Morehouse College are currently just the first steps into VR education, but it does have some pretty big names behind it. Currently partnered with Qualcomm to provide the hardware and headsets, and Victory XR to provide the content. Steve Grubbs from Victory XR had this to say, quote, "This partnership gives the rest of the academic world a glimpse into the future of education. These classes will be surprisingly close to those imagined in the book Ready Player One," end quote. So yeah, this is only one college offering a couple courses, but really it's the start of a pretty beautiful revolution in the education system. VR has the potential to completely change the way courses are taught, and I think for the better, honestly. I'd be on the lookout for your local college or school or university to see if they're offering any sort of virtual courses, and if not, maybe you can be the pioneer to set those changes in motion. Now, just real quick, I wanted to talk about Veil VR and the return of Indie Dev Spotlight. In case you didn't know, Indie Dev Spotlight was actually a segment on this channel that was every Tuesday at the end of the video for months. Basically, I would take a cool indie game or developer and I'd cover it at the end of the video. Well, I ended up turning that into an entire series, and I worked really hard on the first video in the series, actually going to their location and studio. It's probably the hardest I've ever worked on a video, and it's from a game called Veil VR from XLab. Basically, I gave their studio story and the premise for their new FPS game that looks really awesome. Cool thing is that their game Veil is currently invitation only, but I have a ton of keys to give away, so if you want a chance to get access to the game right now for free, you should check out my Twitch stream where I'll be dropping all of the keys and talking with the devs today. All you gotta do is stop by and say hey and you're entered in. Otherwise, you can request access on Steam to get a chance to get in early. And if you haven't already, you should definitely check out the video. I spent a ton of time on it and I'm super proud of how it turned out, and I definitely want to keep increasing the quality of my videos on this channel to match this one. And there's no question of the week today, but please still leave your question of the week below. I will be answering one next week. Don't forget about that Twitch stream, tons of Veil keys to give away. It's going to be a great time. Also, join up in my Discord server for awesome VR meetups, giveaways, and the best VR community on the planet. I want to thank all of my Patreon supporters, especially my Omegas like Anders, Atomali, Benji, Biz, Caution Ramen, CPCJ79, Fur Trap, Fusion Oak, HCG Randon, I'm Naku, Jonathan, KR, Lucid VR, by the way, nice seeing you here on this list, Mud King, That Brock Guy, Token Engineer, Very Evil Shadow, Violet Storm, and Zale. I couldn't do any of this without you. Don't forget to like this video if you loved it, subscribe if you want more of this, and hit that freaking bell if you just can't live without it. Much love, Thrill out.